All right, let's dive right into this explainer. To really grasp the art of deterrence, we're going to start by putting you directly in the shoes of a burglar looking for a target. We're going to break down exactly why criminals choose to hit certain homes while literally walking right past others. And to do that, we need a quick thought experiment that kind of challenges everything we normally assume about home security.
Picture this. It's 2 a.m. You're walking down a quiet, dark sidewalk. Now, if you're a burglar, you're actually not looking for the biggest house on the block. You definitely aren't hunting for the richest family with the most expensive stuff. No, you are simply searching for the easiest opportunity with the absolute lowest risk. You don't want a challenge, you definitely don't want attention, and your number one overarching goal is just not getting caught. And the crazy part? You're making this entire calculation in a matter of seconds.
So, Section 1. Inside the burglar's mind. Let's look at the risk calculation.
We often picture burglars executing these complex movie-style heists, but the reality? They're just opportunists, running a rapid-fire mental checklist. Can I get in quickly? Can I get out just as fast? Is anyone going to see me? Am I going to get caught? If the answer to any of these looks even slightly like a yes, they are immediately moving on to the next house. So the entire game of home security is really just about tipping the scales of that internal calculation, making sure the risk completely outweighs the reward.
Moving on to Section 2, the power of visibility, removing the cover of darkness.
There is a stark contrast between a house that provides safe cover versus one that creates an immediate, obvious risk. Criminals absolutely hate attention. They thrive in the shadows. On one hand, you might have tall bushes, dark corners, and poor lighting, which is basically a safe haven for someone trying to break in unseen. But on the other hand, if a house is well lit and totally visible to neighbors and passing cars, that changes everything. If a criminal has to try and breach a home while feeling completely exposed to the street, the chances of them being identified just skyrocket.
Darkness really is a burglar's best friend, but motion-activated lights, they strip away that advantage in a split second. A sudden flood of light makes a criminal feel incredibly vulnerable. It's literally like a spotlight hitting them on a dark stage. And often, just that single visual shock is more than enough to make them abandon the attempt before they've even touched your front door. It forces them right back out of the shadows because, well, nobody likes a spotlight when they're up to no good.
Which brings us to Section 3, faking signs of life, or the appearance of activity.
So while lighting is super effective, burglars are also actively hunting for specific clues that a house is completely empty. It's not just about what they see lighting up the yard, it's about what they don't see happening inside. Think about this vacancy checklist. We're talking an overflowing mailbox, packages just sitting out on the porch for days, a driveway that is always empty, or curtains that are permanently drawn shut. If you leave these clues behind, you're effectively rolling out the red carpet for them to work completely uninterrupted.
If you compare a neglected, clearly unoccupied facade to a home that actually simulates daily life, the difference is massive. Think about lights toggling on and off, cars regularly parked there, a maintained lawn. Creating this appearance of activity is a profoundly powerful way to discourage criminals, even when nobody is actually home at all. It introduces that crucial sliver of doubt. I mean, ask yourself, if you were trying to break in, would you really risk the house with the flickering TV and the car in the driveway? No way.
All right, Section 4, the element of time, delaying the breach.
You have to understand, for a burglar, time is the absolute ultimate enemy. The longer they're standing outside, the higher their tension gets, and that is where physical resistance comes into play. Now, strong locks aren't about making your home perfectly invincible. Let's be real, given enough time and the right tools, someone can eventually break into almost anything. But they matter because every single extra minute a criminal spends wrestling with a deadbolt or prying at a secure window dramatically increases their chance of getting caught.
Next up, Section 5, community and smart habits, the human deterrent.
This is fascinating because one of the absolute strongest deterrents isn't some expensive high-tech gadget at all. It's literally the people living right next door to you. Human observation is entirely unpredictable. Imagine a tale of two streets. On one, you have an anonymous street where nobody really knows each other and nobody pays attention. On the other, an engaged community where residents actually notice unfamiliar vehicles and weird activity. A burglar is always going to choose that anonymous street. A tight-knit community, that just creates a massive, totally uncontrollable risk for an intruder.
But a good community alone isn't enough. Your security is also heavily reliant on your own daily habits. So many burglaries happen because of simple, completely avoidable mistakes. We're talking about those hidden spare keys under the obvious welcome mat, or And this is a big one, social media posts that give total strangers the exact dates of your family's routines. If you post that you're in Hawaii for a week, you've essentially just given a giant green light to anyone paying attention. Privacy and basic awareness are really your first lines of defense.
Let's move to Section 6, creating uncertainty. The unknowns criminals absolutely hate.
Uncertainty is a brilliant psychological weapon. When a burglar is scoping out your house, you want them literally frozen on the sidewalk, asking themselves this exact question: is someone home? If those automated lights are flipping on and the lawn is freshly cut, they just can't be 100% sure. And honestly, that hesitation is everything. Second question, will a neighbor notice? You want them standing there, wondering if that engaged community we just talked about is staring right at them through the blinds. Are there eyes on them from the house next door? Is anyone paying attention?
And the third question, are cameras recording? Now, even if a camera doesn't physically stop someone from throwing a rock through a window, the sheer uncertainty of leaving behind crystal clear video evidence forces opportunistic burglars to seek out easier targets. I mean, why take the extra risk of police identification when a house with 0 cameras is sitting just one street over?
Okay, let's pull this all together into a really practical deterrent strategy. Step 1, make it look occupied. Step 2, make it visible. Step 3, make it secure. And Step 4, make it look like trouble. By systematically stacking these steps, a house that might have once looked like an easy mark is suddenly bristling with all these subtle defenses. It makes it way more trouble than it's worth. You want them to walk up, trigger the motion lights, see the sturdy locks, spot the cameras, feel completely exposed to the street, and just decide to keep walking.
To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this really empowering thought from our source material. The best security system isn't stopping a burglar after they choose your house. It's convincing them to never choose it in the first place. You don't need to build some crazy expensive fortress with razor wire. You just need to be the harder target. Criminals are always going to seek the path of least resistance. So take a hard look at your own front door tonight. Are you the easy mark, or are you the harder target?